Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Read TFOS, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Jack of All Trades, written by Coverack42. Their race had a saying, Jack of all trades, master of none, and for us it fit them perfectly. Our empire had discovered the humans on a scarcely inhabited arm of the galaxy as part of our third expansion, and, as with all new races discovered, quickly ascertained their strengths and weaknesses. Our empire's success was due to the formation of many species, all contributing their unique skills for the greater good. There was the Krylith, insectoid creatures which could cover ground exceptionally quickly, the Vor with their insane strength, the Rakshar, the Meganats, who had long ago cast aside their organic form and fully embraced technological mastery, and our race, the Zayset. We were natural diplomats and tacticians, and it was on the bedrock of our race's mediating that the rest of the empire had been formed. Only races that improved the empire were uplifted. All others would inevitably drain resources without contributing to the system that had produced them. The humans, it seemed, were an open and shut case. They were assessed to have good endurance, certainly the best of their world, but when compared to the Krylith, they were terribly slow. They had durable frame for their size, however. They possessed barely the tenth of the strength of the Vor. It was clear to see that human senses left a lot to be desired. Their domestication of canines already showing their reliance on other species, and while the dogs, as the humans called them, were seen as adorable by some in command, they were deemed no better than the Rakshar, who had an advantage of being able to receive multisyllabic orders. It went without saying that the humans' technology was pitiful. The repeated clicking of the Meganate's laughter echoed the scanning room as the data poured in from the weakly encrypted satellite networks. As for their diplomacy, the humans were a scattered mess of countries debating over petty rivalries that the Zayset had overcome hundreds of years prior. The only thing humanity had to offer was their planet, a rare garden world with huge biodiversity. This too seemed to be blighted by their presence as scans revealed its declining ecosystem and growing instability. The decision was made to wipe them from the surface with a ground invasion to preserve their system as much as possible. Initial contact was over quickly and done by the book. The humans possessed no space fleet, and the few missiles they sent into orbit were swatted away by the Meganate lasers along with their satellites. Next came the ground invasion. The cities, already scorched of natural wildlife by the human obsession with concrete, were bombarded from orbit with landing sites placed in the craters. From there, the humans' own transport links showed how each landing site was most easily connected, and a network of supply routes was quickly established, dividing what was left of the humanity into isolated cells to be attacked from all sides. Next, we moved to our tried and tested ground tactics. Rakshar trackers were sent in to scout the humans' movements. Next, the Krylith would encircle their forces and herd them into walls of Vor juggernauts and Meganate living tanks, focusing on the cells with the largest organized military presence. The humans were quickly routed and subdued. Or so we thought. Initially an annoyance, the ability for a cell to be wiped clean, only for a human presence to be detected several days later, soon became a serious issue. Whilst automated transports carried resources between the larger nodes of our invasion network, the Vor, with their ability to carry huge loads, has always had the duty to carry supplies to the front line. Again and again, the humans would appear from supposedly clear areas and decimate the patrols with heavy weapons. Whilst nowhere near as fast as the Krylith, the humans could certainly outpace the Vor, and when not cornered, could engage in hit-and-run tactics at will. The Rakshar were also far less effective than anticipated. On a new world with thousands of new smells, forces were often led on fruitless chases by humans deliberately laying trails into ambushes where they would easily overpower the weaker Rakshar. Furthermore, once they realized what they were doing, the humans then sent their own hunters into the fray. Dogs that we had observed and fawned over in orbit turned out to be vicious predators that would rip out trackers to stretch in large packs. The Krylith were also struggling, able to run fleeing humans down easily. They were less successful against well-defended emplacements, and when they met in equal numbers, the human strength and resilience was more than enough to crunch the carapace underfoot. In the largest continent, pressed up against an ancient great wall constructed by their ancestors, the humans found themselves up against the Krylith horde that had outrun its support. By the time the Maganate assault ships had arrived, the fields were stained blue with Krylith blood, and the human force had disappeared into the trees. That truly was the turning point. Whilst our technology was far superior to theirs, the humans had enough intelligence to reverse engineer our weapons of war. Soon, reports of entire columns of war juggernauts wiped out with laser and plasma fire became commonplace. Then, one of our nodes was attacked and an assault ship was stolen. A month later, and our forces were just as at risk from the sky as theirs were. With the situation rapidly deteriorating, with more nodes being conceded, and the core of our forces being wiped from existence, it was decided that the planet was not worth the price of scourging it for humanity. Our forces fell back to the landing sites they had arrived at just months before, now in full retreat. The humans advanced, consolidating and reconnecting, becoming more coordinated as they re-established contact with each other. Finally, as the last of our forces left the planet, our capital ships bombarded the surface. The humans had co-opted our air defenses, and many of the first salvo were intercepted. Nothing, however, could intercept that many shots, and several made it to the surface. It was then that we realized that we were doomed. The brilliant white flashes were followed by equally brilliant blue glow of reverse-engineered Maganate shields. The very same network that we had constructed to protect our infrastructure and later our forces from air attack had been turned into a planet-wide defense. As the months followed, we were pushed from low orbit by their ground-based laser arrays. Then we were pushed from high orbit by their starships. The human stocky stature allowed them to perform maneuvers that would cripple all but the most robust Maganate, and their learning curve in space engagements was remarkably short. By the time reinforcement fleets had taken our cries for help seriously, the humans had completely liberated their planet. It was after lasers fired from their moon deorbited asteroids around their next nearest planet, decimating it along with the vast majority of our reinforced invasion force, that we retreated to beyond the system, which takes us up to now. As I write this journal, I know that the loss of the communications from Alpha Proxima means that the humans have finally cracked our FTL technology. We saw them as an easy target and have now unleashed them on the galaxy. If only we had bothered to read the full saying. Jack of all trades, master of none, but better than master of one. End of story. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Vidmori, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.